Hello camera, I can't tell you my real name, so you guys call me Andy, and hi! So, today I'm going to be talking about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. So, this is like a review of the book. Unlike most people, I don't absolutely hate it. I kind of liked it and I kind of didn't. So I guess I guess this is just a pros and cons video. So, one thing that I absolutely loved was Scorpius. Scorpius Malfoy was the most adorable little angel in the entire universe, and I loved him so much. I loved his character. I loved how even though everyone bullied him and hated him, and he only had one friend and he was very distant from his father, that he was still this wonderful and amazing person, and I just loved it. One other thing that I liked was the ship Scorbus, which it wasn't canon, which is something I didn't like, but I understand why it's not canon, because they're 14, they still have time. I shipped them a lot, they were adorable together. I loved those parts where Scorpius is just like, there was this one part where he was like, since Voldemort won, and there was like, they said that Scorpius basically had a kingdom, and Snape goes, "You're giving up a kingdom for Albus?" And Scorpius is just like, "I have Albus, I don't need a kingdom." And I'm just like, oh, that's so adorable. That was the sweetest and most adorable thing in the entire thing ever. Something else I liked. Well, there's all the parts where Scorpius obviously likes Albus. Honestly, a bunch of people disagree with me on this, but I did like Albus's character. Like, not in the way like Scorpius's character, which is like, I love him because he's amazing and adorable. I liked Albus's kind of like character, like the way he developed, which is odd because I didn't really like the fact that they fast forwarded through 3 years, but I did like the fact that there's a reason that Albus doesn't like his dad. I like that Albus, like, I felt sad about it, but I liked when Scorpius told Albus that he never paid attention to him and stuff, and it kind of made sense to me, because it just felt like that was a thing that would happen to a kid who has a famous father and is ignored by his father so much and is bullied so much. That seems like a logical thing, a reasonable thing that would happen. He clings to his only friend, and but he's very distant, kind of, even from Scorpius, because I think that he was very afraid that even Scorpius would leave him, and in my head that's why he kind of like lets go of Scorpius at some points, and I thought that was wonderful. Some things I didn't like. There was the part where not Scorpius, where Harry was just like, "Sometimes I wish you weren't my son." And most people hate this part. And most people hate this part for a different reason than I do. Most people hate this part because they're just like, "Oh no, that's a terrible thing to say to your kid, and like, it's awful, and blah blah blah." That's not why I hate it. What I hate about it is that I don't think that Harry would ever say that. Not because like, oh, it's his kid and blah blah blah. More because this is the same Harry that was raised in a neglectful home by the Dursleys, by people who really didn't care about him and really wished they didn't have him. I don't believe that Harry, the Harry that cared, that was hurt so deeply by the people like who basically raised him, that he would ever say that to his own child. I don't think that that's a thing that would ever happen. Something else that I didn't like, so I was watching Seamus Gorman's video about this book, and I was thinking about one of the things he said. He said that that they changed the way time turners work, and like I had thought about that before, but I wasn't exactly sure how to describe it, and he described it in the perfect way. Basically just setting a clone of yourself back in time that was the best way to describe it to me, and I liked that way better, not because it's like more interesting or compelling or anything, but because it's just the way that it's just, I liked it because the entire series isn't about time travel, and it's about like Harry fighting the Dark Lords. So J.K. Rowling couldn't make time travel so complex with alternate realities. But when they decided to make an entire play about time travel, they obviously had to change that up a bit. So what they did was make alternate realities, and as interesting as it was to see that, that's just not the way time turners work, and it's very irritating to me that happened, and like it was a completely different plot, and it was kind of annoying. One other thing I didn't like was Albus had a crush on Delphi, and I hated it so much because like it was just gross, like really, really gross. And she was like, what was she, like 20? And here's like 14-year-old Albus. One other thing I didn't like, if you're wondering what that weird sound is, can you even hear it? It's this. One other thing I didn't like was Scorpius having a crush on Rose, because Rose treated him so badly that why would he ever have a crush on Rose? Rose hates him so much. And I understand that it kind of shows how innocent Scorpius is, but it also just irritated me because, like, even Albus was just like, why do you like her? She's terrible to you. And he's just like, no, I like her. And that just irritated me. Something else I didn't like, there was something my mind. Oh, right. One just disclaimer. I haven't seen the play. I read the script. I read the playwright, and yeah, so I can't comment on the actual play itself. I'm just talking about like what I read. Scorpius. There was a thing with Scorpius that I didn't like besides Rose, and I don't remember. See, the thing is that the main thing that annoyed me was the time turner thing. That they completely changed the way time turners work. And I kind of thought that, oh yeah, it's cool and all, but like it doesn't really make sense because oh right, here, now I remember. It was such a plot convenience when Draco was just like, oh, I just happen to have a time, I have a time turner, blah blah blah, blah. Like, oh, come on. I mean, I know he gave the reason, like, oh, everyone hated my son, and if I showed that I had a time turner so late, then they would have been like, then it would have been terrible, and kind of people would have thought that my son is Voldemort's son even more, blah blah blah. And that kind of just sucked to me. Like, what? Like, it was just very plot conveniency. And also, one other thing was that I understand that you want your characters to, like, be bullied and have that horrible life, but the thing is that I can't believe that everyone else in the school would hate them. Like, there's no logical way I can understand that. Sorry, my hair is just doing weird thing. I have straight hair, just curling weirdly. But the thing is that I didn't understand why people, like, if anything, Albus being sorted into Slytherin should have just made people be like, oh, I guess Slytherin isn't that bad. And then I don't believe that people would just hate on Scorpius and create this stupid theory that he's the son of Voldemort. Like what? What? Just one thing, did none of you know Astoria Greengrass? She was like supposed to be extremely kind from what we know about her. She was an extremely kind woman, and we just keep, like, the entire time I was just thinking, why didn't you, like, if anything, you shouldn't, there's no way I can believe that everyone would just, like, think for no reason, with no evidence whatsoever, that Scorpius is the son of Voldemort, and especially people who spend so much time with him, like imagine his dorm mates, like, there's no, that wouldn't happen ever. Like, he's such a kind person, and I know that I keep talking about Scorpius and not Albus, but the thing with Albus is that he was kind of an asshole the entire time. He was kind of a bitch, so that's why I keep not talking about him and talking about Scorpius instead. But like both of them, like, see, Hogwarts isn't like a rundown bad school. It's a very good school, and the only bully in the original Harry Potter series was Draco Malfoy, and he changed. And I mean, I suppose there were Crabbe and Goyle, and like the rest of Slytherin house, which kind of sucked because, but you know, like, I can't imagine that everyone would be that cruel and mean, especially because, like, I remember in the beginning, like, even in the epilogue of the actual Harry Potter series, it showed Harry being like, oh, it's fine if you go into Slytherin because, you know, you're still you and you're wonderful, and that's why Albus went to Slytherin, and that's why he didn't object to the hat putting him in Slytherin, which made me very happy, to be honest, because I was just like, hey, Slytherin pride. But I'm not a Slytherin. I just, every time I take the test, it just comes out different, random factoid. But, like, it was just very odd to me that people bullied him just because he was a Potter in Slytherin. It just, it doesn't make sense. You know, I suppose it kind of counts like another reason to hate his dad, but like, it was kind of just stupid to me. Well, that's all for the video. I guess. Love, life, and bye.